Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm reviewing The Power of the Dog. Power of the Dog was released by Netflix, and it is a Western film that revolves around two brothers that are running a ranch, one played by Benedict Cumberbatch, the other by Jesse Plemons, and I have to say, this movie had some of the best performances that I've seen this year. For my money, Benedict Cumberbatch's Phil Burbank was right up there with being one of the best performances. It's really tied for me between him and Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom, but in this movie, he plays a character that shows such range, a character that's really holding a lot in, and not doing it in the most, appropriate way. He's a very toxic character. But then when you peel back the layers, you understand him a little bit more. But at the same time, there's just so much to this person, and I think he shows that through really well in his performance. So in this movie, George Burbank decides to bring in Rose and Peter Gordon onto his ranch. She is a local, innkeeper. She's someone who's helping out the local community, and he ends up, taking a fondness for her. He wants to help her out. She feels like she's a really good person and wants to bring her in and take care of her. She's obviously going through a lot of struggles. She's played by Kirsten Dunst, and she deals with alcoholism and depression, and she also gives a phenomenal performance. There's a lot of emotionally draining scenes that she puts into this film, and I think she knocks it out of the park. The thing about Benedict Cumberbatch's character, though, is that he is very gruff. He's very mean and hostile. He treats people really poorly, and you find out that he's like overcompensating for something as the movie goes along. I don't want to give away a lot of spoilers because I think the way the film plays out really tells more than to just straight out say what ends up happening with these characters. But I do think that you understand more and more why he acts the way he does by the end of the film, and it really elevates the story in a way because it's a struggle of identity and who someone wants to be and who they're expected to be, and then you kind of see who he really is underneath the surface. Cody Smith-McPhee, who plays Peter Gordon, who is the son of Kirsten Dunst's character, also another phenomenal performance. I know I'm going to say a lot for this movie, but as an ensemble, I think this has the best performances across the board. He is someone who also has a certain identity about himself that he feels like he can't be himself because he keeps getting shot down by a lot of people. People treat him really poorly. Today, in Western culture, old Western culture, he was kind of looked down upon or treated mean. Everyone's so mean to him. But then he creates this bond and this seemingly friendship with Benedict Cumberbatch's character. But as the movie goes along, you understand that he's not a weak character. You look at him, you think he's this weak boy who doesn't understand anything, but he actually is probably the smartest person on screen as the story plays along. While all this family drama is taking place in this movie, it's filmed to the backdrop of some absolutely gorgeous cinematography. It's very well shot. There's some really great wide shots going on. A lot of the story kind of takes place in this idea of the landscape meaning something. The Power of the Dog is a message by the end of the story, but in the film, they talk about being able to see things a different way and looking out in the mountains and seeing something, and that creates a relationship with these characters. Also, Benedict Cumberbatch kind of goes away to this little hideaway area. It's his own little kind of solitude, his little fortress of solitude. So they're able to take these different scenes and these different moments and create kind of an identity from those scenes. I want to dive into just a little bit of the ending of the film because I think it's really well done, and I think it's something that when I first saw it, I didn't know how I felt about it. When I went back and rewatched the film, I understood what they were trying to do with it, and I think it actually does work really well. So by the end of the film, Peter and Phil have this seemingly relationship to each other. You think that he's kind of warmed up to Phil. Phil has kind of broken down who he is. Benedict Cumberbatch's character kind of come along and softened up because of his friendship with him. But you learn that behind the scenes, Peter has been trying to actually, stick up for his mom. Phil is absolutely horrible to his mother. And at the end of the day, the whole time while he was kind of seemingly warming up to Phil, he was trying to find a way to get him out of the picture so that his mom could be happy. He could see that his mom was slowly dying because of the way she's being treated. She's falling further in depression, alcoholism. She isn't going to make it. It's like full hysteria at this point. And finally getting Phil out of the picture made it so that he could have a family and be happy. And you thought, honestly, I thought too, as the movie moves along, maybe he's falling in love with Phil. Maybe they have this relationship and they're really building on this, but he's doing what's best for his family. He's not a weak character. It's not someone who's falling for this guy, even though he's not really that nice and everything. No, he's trying to lure him into an ability to get him out of the picture. And I think that's really interesting. It's really interesting storytelling. I know it's based on a book, and I think it's really well written. So if I were to rate The Power of the Dog, I would actually give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it is probably the best film of 2021, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if it does win the Oscar for Best Picture. Also wouldn't be surprised if Benedict Cumberbatch wins, Kirsten Dunst wins. There's a lot of supporting roles that could win, the cinematography, adapted screenplay. There's a lot that this movie could sweep at the award season. So if you checked out The Power of the Dog, let me know what you thought about it. How did you feel about the messaging? Did you feel differently about it? How did you feel about the characters' relationships with each other? Did you like the ending? Because I feel like the ending starts to lead somewhere and then it goes in a completely different direction. And I personally like that, but I could see how other people would be maybe like it didn't tell that well enough, or maybe I'm misreading what's happening in the story. But I definitely think it definitely subverts what people expect it to do. So leave those comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.